The more time that you spend with a girl in conversation, the more chances you're gonna have to showcase your personality, to flirt with her, and to escalate further. So the higher odds that you have of actually closing her, whether that's getting her number or taking her home. But the problem that a lot of guys have is that they'll actually be able to approach girls, work up the courage to talk to them, but then they'll go into the interaction and the interaction will get awkward. They'll run out of things to say. And either the guy will immediately eject because he doesn't know what to say, or the girl will eject because she's just really uncomfortable. When a guy approaches a girl, he's the one who has to lead the conversation. If you think about it from a girl's perspective, when a guy approaches her, she's a little bit flustered at first and she doesn't know what to say. So you want to allow her, give her the opportunity to actually join in, kind of calm her down a bit. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you how you can avoid an awkward ending and how you can keep the conversation moving forward, allowing the girl to respond. Conversations normally run dry in 3 different situations. The first situation is a guy will say an opening and then not know what to say after that. The second situation is a guy will repetitively ask interview questions. And the third situation is a guy doesn't think he knows what to talk about. And I'll tell you how you can avoid all of these situations. So firstly, the opening. If you say an opening like, hey, I just saw you over there, you look really cute, I wanted to say hi. And then the girl is like, thanks. And then you hesitate for a second, she's immediately just gonna walk away or she's gonna start to get really uncomfortable. After you do the opening, you want to immediately transition into conversation because doing that, it doesn't even allow the girl to think about, especially if you're doing a direct opener that's a little more risky, like giving a girl a compliment at first. If I give a girl a compliment and then I pause, I'm giving her a chance to think about rejecting me. When it's kind of sneaky, if I just keep talking immediately after the opening, then I'm already like segued into a conversation. And one of the ways I like to segue out of the opening is I'll simply ask a girl, what are you doing right now? It's crazy how guys don't think of saying this because it's pretty basic and they think they need like this flashy like thing to say after the opening. But it's a really good way to open up a conversation. So let's say I ask her what she's doing and she responds with, oh, I'm just going to go shopping with some friends. A great thing to do after she tells you what she's doing, no matter what she says, is to hit her with like a tease. In that situation, I could say something like, you seem like one of those girls who has like 40 different shoes in their closet. And then she would laugh and be like, no, actually, blah, 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 blah. And I could go from there. Or another thing I'll do after the opening is I'll ask a girl for her name. And then whatever her name is, it doesn't matter. I'll just say, oh, your name is Hannah? Oh my gosh, Hannahs are such trouble. Never mind, I need to leave. Something like that. It doesn't matter what their name is, obviously, because this is kind of like a canned line. But that's immediately opening up like a flirtatious conversation from there. It's so much better than just standing there awkwardly. So the second place that these interactions will reach a dead end is if a guy enters interview mode and he starts asking a girl question after question after question. And I don't want you to stop asking questions because asking questions is an important part of the interaction. How are you gonna get the girl to think that you're like interested her on a deeper level if you just don't ask her about herself at all? So that's not gonna work. But what I want you to do is ask better questions and then also follow up with her questions better than asking another question. So the first thing you can do is ask her questions which would lead her into asking you the same question and then allowing you to showcase a good quality about yourself. And I know that sounds like a bit like crazy, like confusing, but I'll give you an example. Let's say that I am like a rich business owner and I want to flex that fact to a girl and kind of demonstrate some high value in a subtle way. A way that I could do that instead of just going out and telling her that I own a business is I could instead ask her what she does for a living. Because I'm gonna ask her like what she does for work. Immediately she's gonna answer and then she's gonna ask me what I do. And I'm gonna tell her, oh, I run this business. It's not a big deal actually, but yeah. And then she's asking me about my business and I'm in there. Another example is if like I traveled to a bunch of countries, I could ask her if she's ever been outside the country because then she'll ask me and I can brag about all the places I've been. So think about where your top areas in life are and then ask a girl a question on that topic so that it can come back to you. Another way that you can ask a better question is, instead of asking a question at all, just assume something about the girl and then allow her to either confirm or deny it. So if there's like a sexy looking girl, I could say, "You seem pretty fit. I bet you go to the gym like every single day." And then she can confirm or deny that she goes to the gym every single day, rather than me just asking her, "Do you go to the gym?" It's just another way to break up the structure of the conversation, make things a little more playful because I'm assuming. Here's another example. So instead of asking a girl where she's from, I could say, "You don't seem like you're from around here." Once again, she has to either confirm or deny. And you can use this for any single question format. Okay, now let's say you made an assumption like, "Oh, I bet you hit the gym every single day." And she answers. She's actually like, "No, I don't hit the gym so much. I only hit the gym like once per week." What do you do now? Are you gonna ask her another question? Are you gonna ask her, where do you work out at, or something like that? Or you can make your own point or tell your own story. So I could be like, "Oh my gosh, I work out every single day and you still look better than me. That's not even fair." The main point that I wanna get across is, instead of asking a question after another question every single time, try to make your own opinion, try to make a point on whatever she's saying, tell your own story or something. But you want to add some value instead of just quizzing the girl, which can just get like boring for her and just kind of like annoying. All right, now let's say that she asked you a question. There's two different ways that you could spice up your answer to make it a little more interesting. Number one is making her guess. So she asks you for your age, I'll just be like, "Guess." That just makes it a little more playful and fun. The second thing I can do is not give her the answer, joke around a little bit, and then give her a straight up answer. So let's say she asks me where I'm from. I could tell her Nigeria, and then she'll laugh and be like, "What? Seriously, where are you from?" And then I could just tell her like, "Oh, I'm from North Carolina." Those are just two different fun ways to answer questions. It's much better than just being like, "Oh, I'm just from North Carolina." All right, so the third situation when a conversation will run dry is when a guy runs out of things to say. And I say this in air quotes because really the guy didn't run out of things to say. He was just too nervous. Think about when you're hanging out with your friends. Do you ever run out of things to say? I don't. I mean, I have a million different topics that I can talk about, and it doesn't matter what I talk about. But because you're in a situation with a girl, with a stranger who you think you need to impress, then you raise the bar for things that you can say. Everything you say doesn't have to be inspiring, poetic, absolutely amazing. Anything you say is better than nothing, because if you say nothing, the interaction's over. There's a million different things that you could say in any situation, but here's a model that might help you. It's an acronym called FORD. So F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R for recreation, and D for dreams. So if you ever find yourself like truly at a loss, you can talk about your family, occupation, recreation, or dreams. But there are a few conversation topics that seem to allow you to escalate more than others. For example, if I talk about travel, this one's good for a couple of reasons. Number one, I can talk about the places I've traveled to, so it kind of makes me seem like high value once again. And the second thing is, she's gonna be thinking about places she wants to travel. It's gonna put her in like an adventurous mindset of looking forward to the future. And it might also hint at the fact that we might travel together in the future. And number two is talking about fitness. If we're talking about like each other's bodies, it's just really good for escalation. It can go a lot of different places. All right, guys, so if you are serious about legitimately wanting more options in your dating life, go ahead and click the link in the description and join my free men's community.